B-R-O-K-E, broke?
Broke.
Like broke?
Like, no money.
No money. Like net worth what?
Negative.
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 She has filed for bankruptcy. Appraisers are now taking stock of her personal possessions, her baby grand piano, her Gucci silverware, her Porsche and Lexus.
I couldn't believe it because I loved her so much. I admired her and looked up to her. And she pretty much reprimanded me. When the career thing happened for me, it was a bad thing. That Ellie and Babyface only wanted to sign me, it was a bad thing. Because I remember when I told my sisters, they were crying.
Winfrey Oprah America's love interest or covered deadly profession following her shocking revelations, fans of the chat show Queen are beginning to doubt all they knew about Toni Braxton. Toni Braxton was a global music sensation when things abruptly went south, and now she's blaming an unexpected party for it. Oprah Winfrey. But what really transpired during that notorious 1998 interview? The R&B queen of the 90s, Toni Braxton, was adored by all for her soulful voice and hits like Unbreak My Heart. Her career appeared to be going in the right direction until, out of nowhere, Toni's reputation began to decline. Fans couldn't believe what had happened to their beloved singer, and it turned out that one television appearance may have altered everything, and you can bet that Oprah Winfrey was the driving force behind it. Yes, you read it correctly. The legendary 1998 interview with Oprah may have had a significant role in Toni's demise. It turns out that Toni Braxton was going through a lot at the time. She was facing bankruptcy, drowning in debt, and dealing with health problems that would later be identified as microvascular angina and lupus. You would think that Oprah would be sympathetic, but instead, Oprah took a tough line with Toni, accusing her of being reckless with money and even calling her out for purchasing opulent items.
3 items.
First of all, I didn't know Gucci made silverware. When you had Gucci silverware and baby grand pianos, and you're used to wearing $5,000 and $6,000 and $7,000 gowns at a time, and spending $500 on a pair of shoes.
Would you believe that Oprah asked Toni about his possession of gutsy dinnerware and pricey dresses?
Because I loved her so much. I admired her and looked up to her. And she pretty much reprimanded me.
I read that you were upset about stories that your overspending caused this.
She says to me, I hear you have Gucci flatware. I'm Oprah Winfrey and I don't have Gucci flatware.
First of all, I didn't know Gucci made silverware.
You ain't got Gucci flatware because you didn't want to buy it. It's not because you couldn't afford it.
Talk about hitting someone while they're down. Toni was taken completely by surprise since she looked up to Oprah and thought she would show her some compassion. But instead, Oprah chose to humiliate her in front of the entire country. Toni experienced shame and betrayal.
She was so freaking mean to me.
It gets worse. Imagine how depressing it must have been, especially from a hero. Oprah asked Toni directly whether she accepted responsibility for her bankruptcy, not just for expensive cutlery.
$500 on a pair of shoes. Do you take responsibility for the situation that you're in right now?
100%.
100%?
100%.
How did that happen?
Because I allowed all my finances to become everyone else's finances. That's pretty much how I got here. A lot of the, you wear the, like you said, the expensive dresses and the shoes and all that kind of stuff. But what was happening, I was financing personally with my career, the image that everyone sees. I was the one financing it.
The thing is,
the trouble is that Toni's financial issues weren't as straightforward as Oprah made them appear to be. Later on, Toni disclosed some startling information regarding her record sales, which weren't favorable at all. Oprah didn't care to look into any of that information. Instead, she simply leveled more allegations and made Toni feel horrible.
And immediately, she made me feel this big. That moment completely changed my career. It made people look down on me.
And guess what? After that interview, Toni's career and image took a major hit. People began to perceive Toni as a reckless spender who was unable to handle her finances. It was all part of a public relations campaign. Toni felt that these accusations were hurtful and unfounded, so why would Oprah want to bring Toni Braxton down? Get ready for some juicy details that will leave you speechless. The public and media jumped on the bandwagon, assuming Toni's financial troubles were all due to her lavish lifestyle. However, that wasn't the real story at all. It turns out there was much more to the story than ostentatious cutlery and expensive dresses when Oprah questioned Toni about her spending habits. How does the diva handle serious behind-the-scenes issues that Oprah casually ignored? Toni was dealing with imagine a superstar like Toni, rolling in cash despite over $170 million in album sales during the 1990s. Guess how much Toni actually got in royalties? Who sold over 70 million records worldwide ended up filing for bankruptcy not once but twice. Let's talk about Toni's record contract. Get ready, it was meager. 1,972, yes, you read correctly, less than $2,000 for all those platinum albums. Toni revealed the shocking reality of her situation, saying, "I sold more than 40 million records, but my royalties were less than $2,000. Can you imagine how frustrating that must have been? But Toni wasn't just dealing with an unfair contract. Oprah neglected to mention that Toni was also struggling with some serious health issues. She had been diagnosed with microvascular angina, a heart condition that required her to cancel shows and accrue more debt. And as if that wasn't enough, she later discovered she had lupus. These health issues weren't just frightening, they were expensive. Her lupus required surgery, and she even had to cancel her Las Vegas show because of it. Toni struggled to maintain her profession and battle for her health while being bound by a contract that was essentially stealing from her. But here's the million-dollar question. Why did Oprah? Some people are beginning to question whether Oprah had personal motivations for trying to make Toni appear awful. Ignore everything. Was she unaware of Toni's problems or something else? It's a wild theory, but it could explain why Oprah was so harsh on Toni during that interview rather than providing support or delving into the true issues. Oprah was at the height of her career, known for her tough interviews. Perhaps she saw Toni as a threat because he was a young, beautiful, talented star who was loved by millions. As we've seen with Braxton, Oprah decided to highlight the obvious issues that gave the impression that Toni was extremely culpable. It appears that Toni's experience may not be as unusual as we initially believed. Oprah's handling of celebrities on her show wasn't always as cordial as it seemed. Was this a one-time occurrence or part of a larger pattern? Speaking of Monique, you may recall how her career took a turn for the worse after she declined to participate in free publicity for the film Precious, which is where she received her Oscar. What followed was allegedly greatly influenced by Oprah, who disseminated stories about her being difficult to work with, which resulted in her being shunned by Hollywood.
Until that woman says, "Let me apologize to you publicly," it'll be to the day I leave this earth, because what you did was malicious, and it was intentional, and it was ugly.
Monique.
Additionally, Monique claims Oprah knew there was animosity between her and her estranged family members when she invited them to her show.
That my mother was coming on that show, because had Oprah Winfrey said, "I'm gonna have your mother," I would have said, "Shut it down. I don't need the world seeing how greedy my mother is. Shut that down. That's one of the reasons why we don't communicate, because of my mother and father's greed."
Furthermore, it's not just Monique who is ridiculous. He also has a story about how, while promoting the 2004 film Crash, Oprah chose to criticize his music instead of discussing the movie, which is absurd, according to Oprah, who even edited out his comments to make it appear as though he was just sitting there silently.
Agree with my music, and even if you don't agree with certain songs I made, say you don't agree with certain songs, don't say you just don't agree with all of my music.
Right.
So it was a lot of comments that actually basically she was able to say what she said, and then I had my rebuttal, and when I saw the final show, her comments were in there.
Right, was in there, but yours wasn't in there.
And mine weren't in there, so it just looked like I kind of took it.
Wow.
As more celebrities come forward with their experiences, fans are beginning to wonder if Oprah uses her influence to bully people who don't follow her rules. These stories are making fans doubt everything they knew about Oprah. Is she truly the champion of underdogs as we've always believed, or is there more to the story? Oprah's legacy may not be as spotless as we always believed, as many are beginning to wonder about her relationships outside of her TV program, and their findings are causing a lot of people to raise an eyebrow. As it happens, let's talk about Harvey Weinstein. A lot of folks find it offensive that Oprah and him used to be really friends. Actress Rose Moan, who has been outspoken about Hollywood's issues, made some pointed remarks regarding Oprah and Weinstein's relationship. McWin tweeted, "I'm glad more people are realizing how fake Oprah is. She's not real, from being friends with Weinstein to abandoning and destroying Russell Simmons' victims. She's about supporting a sick power structure for personal gain." But wait, there's more. Some people are also speculating about Oprah's potential relationship with Jeffrey. It's important to note that Oprah has denied all of these allegations. She even tweeted about it, saying, "Just got a phone call that my name is trending and being trolled for some awful fake thing. It's not true, haven't been raided or arrested, just sanitizing and self-distancing with the rest of the world." However, people are beginning to wonder about Oprah's true motivations. Is she really the caring support figure we've always thought she is? The more we learn about Oprah's controversial connections, the more questions it raises. We've seen how Oprah's actions affected T and other celebrities, and fans are over it, saying they haven't been effing with Oprah since that Toni. Some fans have pointed out that Oprah seems to have a pattern of supporting people who have done some pretty questionable things. They're asking if she's part of what they call a toxic power structure in Hollywood, which is a fancy way of saying she might be helping to keep a corrupt system going. An interview with Braxton, another, commented, "I don't like Oprah because she brought Toni Braxton on her show only to make her look bad. She's a nasty, spirited woman, and it's not a coincidence that she keeps getting linked to sick people and situations." After that interview, Toni's career undoubtedly suffered greatly, and it may have all been Oprah's fault. This raises questions about the power structures in Hollywood, including who actually controls the reins and what happens when someone with Oprah's level of influence decides to use it. Please share your thoughts with us and make sure to watch this other video as well.